Hi everyone. So today I have another project for you. I'm going to be working on a card that I'm doing for my birthday, for my brother's birthday. First I'm going to start with the stamping. So I'm going to be stamping this happy sentiment onto some Recollection cardstock. Actually, this is my card base, which I'll put aside for the moment. So I'm just going to be stamping with some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And this image is going to be cut out later, so I'm not really concerned with the placement of it on this page. Great. Next, I'm going to be stamping some flags that are going to be used on this card. These stamps came from the Stamp It Up Banner Blast collection. And I'm going to be stamping them using these three Stampin' Up colors, which are Pool Party, Calypso Coral, and Smokey Slate. So each one of these is going to be given a color, so I'm just going to open all three inks. And I think I need about 5 to get across the front of my card. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp those. I'll be cutting these out, so again, I'm not too concerned with the placement of them. Actually, I'll do another one in this color while I still have it here. And maybe another one in the coral. Normally when I use wooden stamps, I use my stamp positioner, but in this case, since they're getting cut out, I'm not too concerned. Now the last thing I'm going to stamp actually uses these same inks, so I'm not going to close them up, but it's going to be directly onto my card base. So I'm going to be using the Paper Smooches Geographics, I believe, card stamp. Yeah, Geographics stamp. And I've already mounted the hexagons and polka dots onto my card block. So I'm going to start with the hexagon. You'll see I've mounted each pattern on a different side of the block just so I don't have to reposition it. I'm going to start with Pool Party, and I'm going to be putting this about 3/4 of the way down the card, and it's going to be only covering up a portion of the card here. So let me put down some scratch paper so I don't ink up my mat. Now that I've stamped that, I'm going to turn this block over and I'm going to use the Calypso Coral color, and I'm going to stamp that really well. In fact, I'm going to ink it and stamp it once and then ink it again just to ensure that I get all those dots solid. Then I'm going to stamp this kind of overlapping and just below. And that didn't leave a good impression. I'm going to try and match it up. The nice thing about clear stamps is that you can reposition them. So finally got that to come out. Next, I'm going to wipe one of these down, remove it, and put down my final ink or stamp, which will be the zigzag pattern in this collection. So I'm going to ink that up using the gray slate color. And again, I'm going to test it. And before I stamp it directly onto my project. Great, and now that I think I have enough coverage, I'm going to stamp that just above my hexagon pattern and really push that in to make sure I get a good image, and that's good. Okay, now that I'm done with that, I'm going to close up my ink pads. The next thing that I'm going to be doing is stamping die cutting a circle. I'm going to be making 2 circles. The first one is going to be in my card base, and the second one is going to be in a piece of vellum. So for my card base, I'm going to be die cutting a circle that is 3 inches wide, and it's going to essentially take out that upper middle section there. So I'm going to use some washi tape and adhere that to my card front. These are reused pieces of washi tape, so I know that they're really not going to lift up my image at all. And while I'm doing this, I'm also going to position a 3.5 inch ring of vellum onto my vellum, of a die onto my vellum. And now I'm going to run those both through my die cutting. What I've done now is I've cut my vellum piece and adhered it to the back inside of my card using a Zig glue pen, and it dries pretty quickly. Then I created this template in order to get a curved line on my cards. So I put that down with pencil, and then once I had a pencil line, I used my Copic Multiliner 0.5 millimeter tip in order to draw in a double line that I'm now going to attach my my tags to, or my flags. So I'm just going to arrange them in some sort of repeating pattern here. I'm realizing now that maybe I didn't need that extra one, so I'm probably going to end it and start it on the same color. So once I've decided kind of where I want to position my flags, I'm just going to use some foam squares to attach them to my card base. Now that my flags are attached, I'm going to work on my sentiment. So I'm making this a happy birthday card, so I've got happy and birthday that I have also cut out now, and I'm going to position them here. In order to get a little added dimension on them, I'm going to use my scissors to distress the edges. So I'm just kind of running my scissors along the edge, kind of getting it all frayed. Now that I've created my distressed edge, I'm going to use foam adhesive or foam squares to position those in place. I kind of want my happy to be centered and my birthday to be off to the side. So I'm just going to cut the appropriate widths. Lastly, I'm just going to round off the corners. And I think I'm going to use my Copic Multiliner to draw dash lines around the circumference of this circle. So what I did was I used the insert from the die cut that I had cut out of the center of the card, and I used my clearly besotted stamp set called The Best and stamped the image to the best brother. I have two brothers, but this stamp set seemed to work, so my other brother's the best as well. So what I need to do now is get this centered. So the best way I thought of doing that would be to turn my card upside down, kind of line up where the center of my sentiment is, and flip it over. And just kind of peek under to check to make sure that my sentiment is still lined up with the top, and it is. Then I'm going to apply adhesive to the top, the back side of this piece, and then flip my card over to catch the adhesive. I'm not going to go too hard with the adhesive because I just want to see what the front looks like. So it's slightly skewed, so I'm just going to turn this slightly in position. Just so that I can center it a little bit, and I'll just double check to make sure that it's in the right spot. I think if I were to do this again, what I would do is before I cut it, I would put a line across the back, and then after I cut it, I would just have to match up the line again, and I could have just erased the line once I was done. Great. So yeah, I think that's the best method of getting this to center up again, is before you die cut it, do a line across the back. Die cut it, and then you just have to, you have your two positioners to make sure that you're centered again. So now that I've got this mounted down here, you'll notice that now when the card is closed, you see the original stamped image kind of shadowed behind, and then your sentiments inside there as well. And I'll probably also stamp another happy birthday in here as well. And that is my card for today. Thank you for watching. Bye.